It's definitely very surreal to sort of come on set and see all the things that have continued to grow and adapt as the story continues and gets rewritten, literally by the writer's room. My role as a consultant is fundamentally just to help the writer's room get their questions answered. The questions tend to be pretty serious, and they do really tend to focus on making the show a good depiction, an accurate depiction of the federal prison system.
We sit around for the first month and really just kind of shoot the shit, frankly, and talk about what people are interested in politically, culturally, what's going on with people's families. We try to hit hot topics in that way first before even thinking about our characters. And then we try to figure out how and who we can funnel some of those stories through. But it always starts with character.
I get a lot of questions about realism, and the writer's room and all of the production crew really strive to make sure they are accurate in instances where it's important. But I think Genji is doing something much more interesting than sort of faux realism. I think she's doing something much more creative. And the thing that I always encourage people to think about is not, oh, is this scene realistic, quote unquote, but is the show truthful? And I think the show is very truthful.
I'm always looking for crossroads where people who would never ordinarily encounter each other are forced to deal with one another, and prison's a perfect place for that.
The writers who write each episode are on set with us. So we have somebody on the ground from the writer's room at all times. And part of my job is bridging the gap between the writers who are coming, who aren't here all the time, the actors who are just getting to know them, making sure everybody's comfortable, making sure they're getting exactly what they want. But there's meetings and conference calls for every episode, multiple, and we just make it work.
The decisions you're making for a character should not, you don't want to make them just because they serve your story. You want them to serve your story, of course, but they're not going to be the best decisions unless it's what that character would actually do. And so that's what you have to hold in front of you the whole time.
Kudos to the writers, because I don't know how the heck they do it with so many women. They still find a way for all of us to be so different. And that's such a beautiful thing.
I don't know that we always get it right. I think that one of the interesting things that Genji has taught us is to lean into the places that are uncomfortable. If you think that it's too weird, that it's too outlandish, that it's too controversial, and your instinct is to back away, her instinct is lean in.
Well, we don't see anything as sensitive. Yeah, Genji, there's no taboo, making the writer's room a very safe place and hiring people who are willing to come in and share their stories and trust that we will keep this room safe. I think that's where a lot of those big stories stem from, true stories that are born in the room.
I've never been on a show that felt like a family, where you give each other shit like a family, but also respect and love each other like a family. I think Genji and Tara are very nurturing by nature. They're mothers, and the whole thing feels maternal, but not in a way that's like very sweet, but in a way that is comfortable and funny. And it's honestly, this is not because I'm on camera, this is a really fun place to be.
We call it story math, kind of towards the last few weeks. You're sort of, it's just figuring out how all these threads are gonna come together, and you know that they will, or you hope they will, and then that day where it's like, oh my God, you guys, it's doing it, it's happening. It's very celebratory in here.
That's one of the things that excited me most about working on the show, is like, this show matters, and the subject matter that we talk about, and even to see this amount of diverse women and just delving into their stories as they are, I can't think of another show that does that.
I really do love stories, but I think that's primal. I don't think that's unique to me. I think it's the most primal thing, is storytelling. But I'm a sucker for it.